We are in day 9 of the Trump administration's 15-day slow the spread campaign. But the man who at the age of 14 in 1978 invented email, yes, the inventor and copyright holder of email. Oh yes, Dr. Shiba, welcome to the Next News Network.
Great to be here, Gary. Thanks for having me.
You posted something last week that I reported on your tweet, and this is where you said that the CV fear, the fear-mongering by the deep state will go down in history as one of the biggest frauds to manipulate economies, suppress dissent, and push mandated medicine.
I've been a student of politics since I was a kid because I grew up in India, which had a caste system. I was considered an untouchable, which is the lowest of the Indian caste system. The medical system we're moving towards is a top-down system, totally controlled by big pharma, big ag, and big vaccine manufacturers. Sustainable development goals, signed off by the United Nations and all their countries in 2015. It's called SDG 3, which was signed in 2015. They paint a utopia, Gary. It's this utopia of the elites. Subsequently, in an Immunization 2030 document as an addendum to that, they say the way we get to utopia, these 17 goals, is we must immunize everyone on the planet, e.g. vaccinate everyone. And the reason this is important is, look, I created a company called Cytosolve, one of the other inventions I did out of my PhD work, to use the computer to understand chemical reactions in our body and on our cell, to basically use a computer to model diseases so we could eliminate the need for animal testing. So Cytosolve is this amazing invention which allows me to do in a different way what my grandmother did intuitively, which is to understand the combinations and mixtures of chemicals to figure out medicines from food and natural products faster, cheaper, and safer. When I built that, I said, wow, pharma guys would want to use this because it takes them 15 years to build a drug, $5 billion. And I don't know if you know this, the pharma industry is in peril right now. They're not making any money, really any money from pharmaceutical drugs because lots and lots of investment in R&D, and they're getting less and less new drugs allowed by the FDA because of their toxicity. So what pharma companies have moved to is vaccines. The 1986, the Vaccine Court was created. John Kennedy implemented the National Vaccination Act in 1962 under a fake science or an outdated science of the understanding of the immune system. That led to many injuries that took place between 1962 to 1986. In a response to those injuries, another Kennedy, Ted Kennedy, led the creation of the National Vaccine Injury Program, which led to the creation of the vaccine courts, not in the judicial department, but under Health and Human Services, which basically allowed indemnification of vaccine manufacturers so you couldn't sue them, and the maximum liability for death was $250,000, okay? And so we're at a situation now that for pharma companies, vaccines are pure profit, no liability, no risk, they can't get sued. When I came into looking at the one-size-fits-all vaccine program, there were other activists in this field, and frankly, many of them were controlled opposition. People like Bobby Kennedy was playing a good game saying he's against vaccines. Meanwhile, he endorses Hillary Clinton, who is vaccine queen, okay? So the position I took was I said, we need to really educate people on the immune system. You'll see the videos I started doing. They started going viral, and the movement started taking off. And in fact, 5 days before the coronavirus stuff hit, about a week before, is when we won a major victory in New Jersey against these vaccine mandates. The deep state of a few set of people, from the Gates Foundation to the Zuckerbergs to Hillary Clinton, congealed with the UN and the deep state elites. They're going to fear monger on coronavirus because of the ignorance of the medical profession. Most MDs do not know what the immune system is. They don't even study nutrition. Based on that ignorance, they were going to scare the hell out of people with the coronavirus to essentially say, we need to do this for the quote unquote common good. That's what we're seeing go on.
There's speculation, considerable speculation, that the virus is actually a manufactured bioweapon. Now, the State Department, among others, are pushing back against that narrative, simply calling it Chinese and Russian disinformation.
What happens is this kind of virus, if you think about a big ball representing your cell, these little particles land on that cell, and their goal is to get into the cell and use your cell's machinery to replicate themselves. We have about 380 trillion viruses in our body. It's called the virome. We have about 60 trillion bacteria in our body, and we have about 6 trillion cells, which is what we're made of. Coronavirus is a class of viruses that create flus. These ones create respiratory syndrome. The coronavirus in Wuhan was a different strain than the one that was in Iran versus the one that was in Italy. And there's reports that I've read, it's hard to verify a lot of this, that all of those different viruses go back to one common branch, which actually goes back to Fort Detrick, okay, in the United States and North Carolina. the U.S. deep state sent people over to Wuhan, and that's how it got given in China. This is one theory. Whether it came in or not, my view is that if you believe in the concept of a set of people who don't care about the U.S. national interest or the Chinese national interest or the Indian national interest or Italian, they're more care for their own global interests. You know, you could view a scenario where it got created by the deep state and got put out there. What was going on at this time? Hong Kong was blowing up. Remember that? And what people do not know is 6 months before the coronavirus, there were massive anti-pollution protests by Chinese citizens in Wuhan. You don't protest in China without risking your life. It's not like they have the First Amendment there. So large numbers of people are taking to the street and protesting, tens of thousands, because the Chinese government was going to build one of the largest incinerator plants there, which was going to spew out pollution. And the people in China, the everyday people, really care about their health. And there have been pollution protests since 2007, extremely growing. And then you don't hear any news about it. You see Hong Kong completely disappear, serves the globalists. When you're a student of politics and a student of medicine, you start seeing these connections. Of the 30 vaccines recommended by the CDC for young kids, not one of them has been a saline placebo control tested. And in fact, the one that they said they did a test on the HPV Gardasil vaccine, it was a fraudulent test.
That doesn't surprise me. So what do you think is going to happen with this vaccine? Do you think they're going to roll it out? Do you think they're going to mandate it like they just passed that law in Denmark?
What they're saying is there's this boogeyman called the virus, and you need the vaccine to help you stop that, okay? Boogeyman, savior. Savior's Bill Gates, Clinton Global Initiative, etc., Big Pharma. If you actually understood the immune system, it's laughable. The reality is the immune system has evolved over billions of years. We grew up in bacteria and viruses. We're supposed to play out in dirt. That's how the immune system gets turned on. So what happens is it's people who have immunocompromised immune systems, which means their immune systems are not firing on all cylinders. So imagine you have 3 cylinders, it's only firing on 2. You know what happens? The third cylinder has to take up all the effort, right? Well, that third cylinder in immunology is called cytokines. It fires so hard that it overreacts. And it starts not only attacking the virus surface, but also starts attacking your own tissue. So it's your own body attacks itself because of a weakened and dysfunctional immune system. Well, how do you get a weakened and dysfunctional immune system? Eat sugar all day. Eat a diet that's no longer has any vitamin D and nutrients. And that's why I wrote that letter to the President of the United States. This is really about immune health. This is the fact that we don't get enough vitamin D, we don't get enough vitamin A, we don't get enough vitamin C. I mean, there's other things, but we can focus on those 3 things. In Chad, in African country of Chad and Djibouti, there's only been one COVID case and no deaths. Why is that? Well, because people live probably lives that we should probably think about living. They're out in the sun. They're, digging up roots. We may consider these people third world. So the solution is pretty simple. At least get out in the sun. If you can't do that, you got to boost up on vitamin D, vitamin D, vitamin D. We're not getting sun. We're not getting fruits and vegetables, but depleted culture for 25 years. Monsanto, those pesticides affect the gut microbiome, which throw our gut off. And then we're eating high sugars. I mean, it's a recipe for death. But we're not addressing that. We're like hyping up this virus. And what is the result? You have people hiding out in homes, people getting ready to accept fascism, not addressing the fundamental issue, which is immune health.
I'm envisioning a time where we're going to see the same thing. Coronavirus vaccine is free for everyone today, right? So that's, I think, a future.
Well, it's going to be even more. It's going to even be more unfortunate than that. It'll be, oh, Gary, your driver's license is coming up for renewal. Did you get all your vaccines? You can't travel. Hey, you can't take the train or the bus. Hey, you can't go to the gym. You can't go here. This is where this is headed. A gym will say, well, we can't allow you in here, Gary. We don't want to harm all of our other people, right? You remember when, who was it? Michael Jordan played with the flu. People are like, wow, look at Michael. He's playing there with the flu. He's strong, right? This entire thing is a master setup. It's chess move after chess move. And it's brought to you by Anthony Fauci.
But now we're learning from the WikiLeaks drops that he is a huge supporter of Hillary Clinton, and somebody you have actually called destructive. Why should we be concerned with the advice that the president is getting from Fauci?
Anthony Fauci, in my view, should be indicted. If people actually knew what this guy actually did, he's been with the government since Reagan times, 40, 50 years. And then Bush and Obama and all of the presidents up to here. How did he build his career? He built his career on the false narrative that HIV causes AIDS. Peter Duesberg, who I've spoken to, who was a truly great scientist, the youngest guy to get tenure at Berkeley. And Peter said, wait a minute, There is no causal relationship between this virus, HIV, which he considered a very harmless virus, and AIDS. He was vilified, all of his grants went away. And the guy that promoted this lie was Fauci's predecessor by the name of Gallo, Robert Gallo. Robert Gallo was brought up on scientific misconduct charges. He literally stole the HIV virus from France. He couldn't produce enough of the virus because they couldn't find it. He created a bogus HIV test. Fauci came to his rescue. I think there was a power play. Fauci essentially took the lead. Gallo was put into the back, and that was the beginning of this guy's career. He writes about how he hangs out with Bono and, remember the whole AIDS and all the stupid celebrities getting involved in this nonsense, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Fauci, he's a veteran of this. This ain't his first rodeo. He learned how to create bogus science, to promote bogus science, to create the fear of HIV causes AIDS. Billions of dollars were spent on this. A lot of people died because people used drugs like AZT. I had a very good friend of mine who died from it. And, people didn't learn HIV is frankly a harmless virus. Okay? The people who were dying from it were, again, immunocompromised. Gays at that time, were having 1,500 partners. We're doing meth, amphetamines, all sorts of drugs. They were destroying their immune system. You had IV drug users who were destroying their immune system, and you had people getting blood transfusions, not because of the virus in the blood, but because they would get immunosuppressive drugs. The simple point here from a scientific standpoint is when you lower and you destroy the immune system. So Fauci doesn't want to talk about that. Everything is about the boogeyman of viruses. Fauci knows what he's doing. He is the face of pharma and vaccines, and he sees his opportunity to become, the hero in all of this.
The one big narrative that I've seen that's been presented is that, well, more people die from the flu. But there's this massive, massive, terrifying visual of people being intubated and people eating bats and all this horrific visual propaganda. And now states are in lockdown mode. National Guard has been deployed. State guards have been deployed. Tents are being set up in cities and in Walmart parking lots and hospital parking lots. And you're having this spirit of fear descend on this country and the world at large. But why don't we do the same thing for the flu?
You have to understand, pharma and media work very closely together. The president is being bamboozled by this circle around him. And that's why I wrote that letter, Gary. That letter basically lays out in 4 pages very clearly what the problem is, that you have a fake science of the immune system. Here's the real science. And I actually proposed to the president a protocol, which is basically vitamin A, D, C, and some iodine. And I said, let's triage people into 4 groups. Those people with COVID, let's put them in one group. Those people are immunocompromised, let's give them this group. Those people who are in critical care, let's give them a particular IV vitamin C. And the third group, who are healthy, let's give them some maintenance dose and get them back to work. That's what we should be doing, not one-size-fit-all medicine. This is treat everyone like they're basically part of the, some deep state party, right? We're just minions. And in fact, in 2003, when I went back to MIT to pursue my PhD, MIT created a new department called biological engineering, which I was one of the first early graduates. And one of the tenets at that time was personalized medicine, the right medicine for the right person at the right time. So people like Fauci aren't even practicing modern medicine. He's practicing outdated fake science medicine. It's criminal.
A man by the name of Bertrand Russell advocated the use of vaccines to induce partial chemical lobotomies. You know what a lobotomy is? When they go in your brain and try to do things to kind of so-called straighten you out. Well, they have drugs now that they can introduce into your system and mind that literally make you like a zombie. They can put a chip in you today and talk to you and get you to act as you would never act. These are scientists of evil, and you don't know them. And even when somebody will risk their life to show you your enemy, you think we are the enemy. All you scared to death Negro.
Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I've been getting my teachers and edification from, and to the hopeful elect scattered across the 4 corners of the earth. This lesson here is going to be a short one, and as you guys saw earlier in the video, pertaining to just a small brief talk about you know, the end game of the general public across the whole entire globe being vaccinated. And then we all know after the vaccination is going to come the microchip. And so just want to pull out a couple of scriptures. Not going to keep this too long, but we're going to start at Psalms 37, verse 7. And it says, rest in the Lord, Yahweh, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth it wicked devices to pass. Right. And what you have here in this scenario, going back in the intro of the video that you just saw, Esau is all on it. And, you know, the number one thing that everybody is now panicking on is the vaccination and the mark of the beast. Because this has been prophesied from day one, starting, you know, with the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone and every other, you know, brothers who've been teaching the truth in all sincerity, you know. And what we have to understand is Esau will stop at nothing, bringing these wicked devices into place. Because, as I said in previous videos, this has always been about the birthright. You know, Esau wants that birthright back. You know, Esau wants to be the Most High. Esau wants to be Yahweh, you know. And the only way that you can do that is when you think about it, you go out on the streets, you in a car, driving down on the highway, you see cameras up on every, you know, goalpost, not so much goalpost, Salakia, but, you know, light post, you know, intersections of different streets. You know, you got security valance all across the neighborhoods. They tracking you through the satellites in the air. They can track you through your cell phone device if your location services is activated. Just little implement things like that. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys within the last couple of years, since they brought out the little gadgets like Google Home, if you have that turned on in your home, if you're anything that you look up on your cell phone or anything that you say on your cell phone, if you go into, you know, any of your social medias or even your internet browser, chances are you'll see ads, you know, of what you just of what you may have said. So say for instance, if you know, say something like let's say if you're a guy and you say something, you have like, you know, a beard or whatever, and I'm just talking in general here, and you say something like beard oil or whatever, not even like 5-10 minutes later, you know, you can go on Facebook or something, and then just out of nowhere you'll start seeing ads pop up of beard oil products for your beard, you know, or you'll go on a website or whatever, and then you'll start seeing ads pop up, you know. And that's because they got their you know, their wicked devices tapped in everywhere, you know, no regards. And you know, as I said, Esau is going to continue to do, you know, whatever it is that he's going to do, and he's not going to stop, man. You know, he's not going to stop. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. And it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And that's what you're seeing right now. You got, you know, Jake is starting to wake up and realize, you know, everything ain't new under the sun. You know, for too long, you know, people sitting up there want to drop memes, you know, want to drop videos and stuff, being locked up, you know, quarantined in their own homes. But now it's been, you know, we surpassed, you know, going on 4 to 6 weeks now of everyone being at home. And it's like, you know, now the real, you know, the realest of the real is starting to kick in to a lot of you people out there, man, to understand that, you know, we are really in the end times, man, you know. And Esau, he's not going to stop at nothing. He's going to pull out all stops, and, you know, he's going to show himself. And he's not going to stop at nothing. He is not going to stop at nothing. He is going to pull out all the stops, and he is going to come down very hard with everything he got. And what he's doing now is he's just slowly building and building, creating that fear factor, because he's going to lure the masses of people to get to a point where they're going to get fed up and they're going to be put in a position where they have no choice but to depend on the government for that help. They're going to be in a position where they have no choice, where they're going to lash out and say, we need something. You know, we need the vaccine. We need a cure so that we can go back out and party and do and live our normal lives. Now, let me tell you something. Society after this will not go back to normal. It is impossible, given what has taken place, given the to the extent that Esau has gone to force every single person around the globe to be in an all-time state of the highest fear that they've ever been. All right, and we're going to close this out in the book of Revelations, chapter 13, starting at 16. And it says here, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, freed and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So that's 666. So the end game is, when they set you up with that vaccination, the vaccine is going to cause a disruption within your body, within your cells, right? Causing you to get to a deep state of mind where it'll be much easier for you to be forced to take the chip. And what you got to understand is, you don't know what's in that vaccine, number one. Number two, whatever that they put in there can not only manipulate your whole body, but it can also probably hallucinate you to the point where when they do implement and mandate, you know, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, that you will willingly take it with no disregarding anything. You know, that's why it says here that, you know, if you don't take that mark, no man might buy or sell. So let me give you a rundown scenario on how this could potentially work, because it will go down. It's going to come to a point where the first thing they're going to do is they're going to run the vaccine, okay? And then they may come out and say, you know, as you saw the guy in the video said that, say, for instance, you won't be allowed back out in social gathering without proving that you've gotten the vaccine. You might not be allowed to go back to the gym, your local gym that you go to, if you can't prove that you've been vaccinated. You know, you may have a payment, you know, a car, you know, your license might be due or whatever, like the gentleman said in the video, but they notice on your file you have been vaccinated. So now you become a risk to society because you're out and about and you haven't been tested. And furthermore, you haven't been, you know, vaccinated. So we don't know how this can play out. We just know that it's about to go down. Okay. And, you know, the warning has been going on. The Most High is working. And Esau, you know, we ready, man. We been ready. And at the end of the day, for each move that you make, the Most High gonna make his move, man. So it don't matter what you do, you know, the end game is up. So you can come with all your wicked ass devices and, you know, ammunition, whatever you got going, because, you know, when the Most High sends his son Yahushua back, man, you know, it's game over. It was over even before it ended. But that's the beauty of all this, man, because the Most High, you know, he's setting this up. He want Esau to bring every single thing he got. He want this fight, man. He want this fight. And Esau know exactly what he doing, but like I said, it was over even before it started, man. And to you brothers and sisters out there who ain't got no faith in what's going down or whatever, now is the time while the grace period is still open, man. Now is the time to search the scriptures. All right, now is the time. And I believe that's in Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. And we're going to end it with here. And it says, this is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. And it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure. And that's all you need, man. This wisdom and knowledge, searching the, through the scriptures, will be your stability of thy times, man. So, at the end of the day, don't be alarmed. Don't be shook of what's about to go down. Okay? Because this has been in the works from Esau from the get-go. And Esau's main thing is to enslave, to keep the draconian laws. All right? And so that he can rule, because he's trying to be the Most High. So I'm going to end it on that, man. I hope you brothers and sisters were sincerely edified through this video. And I want to say shalom to the hopefully elect out there. All right. Stay prayed up and keep searching through the scriptures, man, because this is the time where we are fighting a spiritual fight, not a physical one, but a spiritual one. All right. Shalom.